Welcome everyone to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Initiative, and they're teaming up with Crystal Dynamics on Perfect Dark. So basically, the Initiative announced that they will be partnering with Marvel Avengers and Tomb Raider's Crystal Dynamics to develop the upcoming reboot of Perfect Dark. So they put a post on Twitter saying that they were going to partner with them world-class, team-building, character-driven games such as Tomb Raider to bring the first-person spy thriller to a new generation. And that's what they said up on the twits. So, this is kind of interesting because, you know, the Initiative was kind of put together by Microsoft as their first-party studio to develop new games with an A-list developer listing of A-list developers from all different walks of life, all different games such as Uncharted and, all the big titles that are out there, all the big games. And they all kind of came together to create this initiative. I think some people from Bungie and, from Naughty Dog and various other big developers, Insomniac and stuff like that, all came together to create this initiative group to create games. And they announced, I think a couple E3s ago, that they were making a reboot of Perfect Dark, which is awesome. But in this one, they have partnered up with Crystal Dynamics to help with that, which seems a little odd because, I would think that this group was going to be put together to develop games on their own internally within Microsoft and not have to have third-party support. So it's kind of weird that Crystal Dynamics, besides Marvel Avengers, makes some awesome games. Tomb Raider is an awesome game. The Tomb Raider reboots that they did were fantastic. And a lot of the old Crystal Dynamics games that they've done in the past are great games. Marvel Avengers is really their kind of big downfall as far as their development cycle goes. Or their biggest, I should say. But it's still kind of an odd thing to see. In one hand, it's kind of great. That's awesome. You're partnering with Crystal Dynamics to bring this forth, and that's cool. They're a great team, and they do some pretty good stuff. But why is this necessary? That's my question. Why is it necessary to bring on another team when this team was supposed to be put together to develop first-party titles for Microsoft? Why do we need to bring in more developers or a different company to help with development? That's what I thought this initially was. So, we're going to discuss this and see what the group thinks about, Crystal Dynamics coming into the fray with the Initiative and the Perfect Dark Reboot. So, Shane, how about you, man? What do you think of Crystal Dynamics coming in here to help out the Initiative?
Honestly, it worries me a little bit. Crystal Dynamics, Avengers aside, has really done some fantastic stuff. The Tomb Raider series has just flourished. But think about it this way. Microsoft created this team to make this game, and other games, of course. But this is their first game. Now, Perfect Darks is a rare property originally. Microsoft bought them, so now it's an Xbox property. Microsoft created the Initiative. The Initiative's first game is the Perfect Dark Reboot. The Perfect Dark Reboot, why are they not going to Rare for assistance? Why are they not going to any of the other 15 companies they bought up? Why are they not using them? Now, granted, Microsoft is really pushing to get their first party exclusives going and out the door, because that's the linchpin and all the amazing stuff they have done in the last several years. That's what's killing them. It's first parties. So maybe they just don't have time. But to me, financially it makes more sense to stay within Microsoft. It makes more sense, game developing. It makes more sense to go with Rare. I don't know how many of the original Rare members from the original Perfect Dark are there, but that makes more sense to me. I think there's probably, there's more to it than I'll probably ever know about, and that's fine as long as Perfect Dark comes out better than Perfect Dark Zero, because that sucked. It had promise, but it never delivered in any way, shape, or form. I do want to know why they truly decided to just skip their own company and go to an outside developer, especially Crystal Dynamics, who has a really good track record overall. But I mean, they've been shooting some blanks here lately, and that worries me. I think it's great that they recognize they want some more ideals, talent, help, whatever, and they're willing to do it. That's great. That's always great to get help. But I want to know why they didn't stick with their people. I want to know why they specifically chose Crystal Dynamics. I want to know what it is they're going for with this new Perfect Dark, because is what they're going for with the new Perfect Dark, is it something that Crystal Dynamics has, excelled at? So is it, they're trying to go for some RPG elements into new Perfect Dark, character building or something like that? Because Tomb Raider's great character building with the character, in my opinion, of course. I want to know their reasoning for choosing them. So I have a lot of questions. It does worry me, but I think it's probably just me being on the worried side, overthinking it. But what about you, Pat? What do you think? Am I batshit crazy?
I kind of wanted the same thing. Why is Microsoft's new AAA studio going outside for help, right? It makes no sense, really. Why are you teaming up with, a company owned by Square Enix? Why are you doing this? It's going to cause rumors. I can tell you that right now, because people are going to be like, well, is Microsoft looking to buy Crystal Dynamics? Is that why they're in this? What's going on? I don't get it. Some weird stuff often happens. We've heard of stuff like Sony teaming up with a couple of studios for help with God of War and stuff like that. It's just like, I don't get it neither. Microsoft's a large company. They've got a lot of studios under their belt. Why not just stick it internally, like you said? What's so special about Crystal Dynamics? I mean, if you listen to Square Enix, they're kind of batting really crappy here lately, because I mean the Avengers game, in my opinion, wasn't that great of a game, wasn't great of a seller. And then they've had some bombs, some stuff that didn't do quite well, and now they're like, hey, let's have them help us out with our new AAA game that we're a brand new studio. Let's show the world we can't do these on our own, because we can't do this. So I don't get it. It's kind of seems like a good and bad type situation, right? It's like Crystal Dynamics has got some good games, so they partnered with a good company to help them out. But then it's like, wait a minute, this is your first game. Don't you want to show that you can stand on your own 2 feet and create a great game? I'm baffled by it, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I have no freaking idea what Perfect Dark is. Never played it. I have no clue. So
the original was great.
What the hell?
So
there are
never played it.
So there are rumors that Microsoft is looking to acquire another big company. Now, could it be, in this case, Crystal Dynamics? They are owned by Square. Could it be Square Enix? I highly doubt it. But could they be buying Crystal Dynamics from Square? That might be a potential. And that might be the reason why they announced they're partnering with them, with the initiative, whereas Crystal Dynamics may be coming into the fold. And that could be a possibility. There has been rumors that at some point here in the near future, that Microsoft is going to announce another acquisition, and it could be Crystal Dynamics. I mean, I don't think that in the rumors they've said anything about Crystal Dynamics being the acquisition per se. But with this, it kind of makes me think if they were going to say we have acquired another company, it might be buying Crystal Dynamics out of Square Enix. Because again, after Crystal, I don't believe, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe Square Enix bought Crystal Dynamics when they were making Tomb Raider. It was after that was all done that they bought them, or maybe maybe during the process of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, where they bought them, and then Avengers was the first kind of title under Square. Because I think the first Tomb Raider was Eidos still, I want to say, but and maybe Square is looking at it saying like, you know what, this was a bad acquisition, and maybe looking at, Microsoft saying, hey, we'll buy it from under you, or buy it from you, basically. And they're like, hey, let's go with that. You can purchase Crystal Dynamics from us. So that might be, and again, these are all rumors, so take it with a grain of salt. But that's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, it is super strange for them to be, like you said, Patrick, for this brand new company to be like, we need help. And that's kind of a sign of trouble in a sense of like, why do you need help? You're a brand new company. You have A-list developers that, you boasted about all these big developers coming into the initiative, and now you need assistance from an outside source. What's the problem here? And that's one of the kind of the faults that we see with new development companies coming together, right? Is we hear all about, we talked about before, New Moon Studios, all these big celebrity developers coming together to create this new development. And what usually happens? They just fall apart and nothing ever comes out of them. So, it was great to see the initiative was actually making something, because that was one thing we feared, is that this initiative was going to come together and never make anything. And we saw this kind of CGI trailer a couple of E3s ago of Perfect Dark, and we're like, oh, cool, they are making something. And now they need some outside help. So that kind of tells us as gamers that something's not right. Something's in trouble. Someone poisoned the Kool-Aid. Something happened.
And Square Enix bought Crystal Dynamics in 2009. So, they already had the first Tomb Raider under their belt, but the remainder, were after the fact. So it's not that, I wouldn't think it's because they made one crap game. They put out, 2 Tomb Raiders that were fantastic while under the Square Enix umbrella. So I don't think it's a purchasing thing. I don't.
I do, because Square Enix has said that Crystal Dynamics has put out some turds lately and hasn't been performing to expectations.
Well,
that's an actual statement that they made.
They said turds?
Expectations.
Yeah, I know.
They said actual turds.
Crystal Dynamic is a bunch of turds. Somebody needs to flush this studio.
Yeah. But, I don't hold that against them, because if you look at the lineup of what they've done, from the Tomb Raider to Gex, Soul Reaver, Legacy of Kain, Pandemonium, which if you've never played Pandemonium back in the day, it is such a fantastic platformer. They've really done some fantastic stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, they are definitely not on a winning streak. I don't think their next purchase is going to be Crystal Dynamics. I really think their next purchase is going to be more of a Japanese-based company, or even just a partnership. It would be the next thing to do. But it does make me really wonder why they chose Crystal Dynamics, because there's definitely other developers out there that I see as a better fit to the Perfect Dark model than Crystal Dynamics, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean that they can't do a fantastic job. It doesn't mean that maybe you guys are right. Maybe there is a chance that they'll buy Crystal Dynamics. So we'll just have to see. I think it's interesting. I think it's worrisome. But, they haven't really said enough about it. Phil Spencer said he was excited to be partnering and working with them. When Phil's happy, I'm happy, because a happy Phil is a good game, typically. So we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, for sure. Right now it's a wait and see. It might be a good partnership. It might end up being good. It might be end up being good for the game. Because ultimately, besides the studio, it's all about the games. It's all about the gaming. So if Perfect Dark ends up, because of this partnership, ends up being a fantastic first-person spy espionage game, then great. I don't care who they partner with as long as it ends up being awesome, you know? And so that's all we can hope for. But does anybody else have anything they want to add to this?
I'll get to play Perfect Dark.
There you go.
Yeah, just don't give me a damn zero. That's all I care about.
Yeah, no zeros. Let's go for pluses. So, all right. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you like it. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notifications to keep up to date with new videos that we put out every day almost. There's only a couple of days that we don't put videos out, but that's okay because we've got stuff on our Instagram and on our Facebook. So make sure to check those out too. Thanks everybody for watching. See you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.